March 2026. A screen in the Privy Council chamber displays King Charles III. His microphone is muted. He watches in silence as his government moves without his voice. Prince William sits in the center of the room. With a brief nod, he validates state decrees that ONC required a royal command. The mute button is the new protocol, a regency functioning through a software setting. The king's public schedule has withered by half. 62% of the public now accepts this silhouette of a monarch. They prefer the continuity of a familiar face over the friction of a formal abdication. But the physical reality of power remains tied to a fountain pen. Documents requiring the royal sign manual now wait 14 days longer than they did at the start of the reign. For a senior clerk in Whitehall, this 2-week delay is the only medical report that matters. Civil servants now synchronize the legislative calendar with a private medical chart. They wait for the window of vitality, the few hours when the king is strong enough to sign the papers piled on his desk. The state no longer moves by the clock, but by the rhythm of a patient's recovery. The king provides the ink when he is able. William provides the direction because the office demands it. The transition is not a single event, but a slow migration of duty happening in the silence between two screens. The Lord Chancellor's copy of the 1937 Regency Act remains a blank sheet. To trigger the statute, the law requires the physical signature of Queen Camilla, an admission of the king's decline that the palace has not authorized. Instead, the Prince of Wales is operating through the Duchy of Cornwall's internal accounts. He has diverted £23 million of annual profit toward his own independent staff and a new schedule of diplomatic travel. Britain has not seen this level of internal separation since 1811. During that winter, George IV began issuing sovereign orders from Carlton House, while his father, George III, was kept behind the locked doors of the North Lodge at Windsor. The two courts functioned as separate islands. The current shift is most visible at the security gates of Kensington Palace. Every Tuesday at 8 a.m., a courier from the Ministry of Defense arrives with a leather briefcase containing the first-tier intelligence briefings. These are the most sensitive documents in the British state. A clerk now signs for the delivery that was once the centerpiece of the king's morning routine at Clarence House. Inside the briefcase, the daily summary of global threats is held in a folder marked with the heir's crest. The king's personal copy is delivered separately 3 miles away. The seals on that second briefcase are frequently still intact when the messenger returns to collect them 24 hours later. The Prince of Wales has structured the Sandringham estate as a tactical buffer zone. Through the 3-step protocol, he functions as a sovereign in all but name while refusing the physical crown. This decision is rooted in a specific institutional memory. Having watched the monarchy dismantle his parents' private lives, William now prioritizes the stability of Prince George's school term over the immediate necessity of a coronation. The strategy is a calculated containment of risk. Catherine's recovery remains governed by a medical monitoring regime that would be incompatible with the grueling public schedule of a queen consort. William is choosing to let the central authority of the British state drift rather than force his wife into a role her health cannot yet sustain. Historically, heirs like Edward VII waited in frustration for a power that arrived too late. William is doing the opposite. He manages high-stakes diplomacy in Nassau and Kingston to prevent the Commonwealth from fracturing. Yet he leaves the physical seal of state on his father's desk 3 miles away. On May 12th, the Lord Chamberlain must finalize the sovereign grant accounts for the new fiscal year. The document requires a formal signature to release the funding that maintains the royal palaces. That signature has been delayed for 6 days. The ink remains wet on the briefing notes, but the page itself remains blank. Is William a modern father protecting his family, Or is he a future king failing his constitutional duty by leaving the throne in limbo? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more.